G'day viewers. I've thrown out a few surprises in my time on YouTube, but here's one that a lot of people thought they'd never see. Me taking this silly piece of plastic off. Now, I have a lot of new or newish subscribers right now who might not understand why that's such a big deal. I've actually been on YouTube for about 18 months, and in that entire time I never made videos where my face wasn't obscured in some way, usually this mask. And about 6 weeks ago, when we announced the As One gathering in Melbourne, I hit 1,000 subscribers. That took almost 18 months. 6 weeks later, I will probably have hit 2,000 subscribers by the time this goes live. That's due mainly to the just amazing goodwill of Mr. Cory Williams, aka Mr. Safety, and the interest generated by the As One gathering in Melbourne, and I got myself a couple of nice features on the Australian YouTube homepage. A lot of my dedicated long-term viewers will be wondering why I took it off. A lot more people are always wondering why the hell I ever put it on. Well, the three biggest questions I'm always asked are, what's up with your face? Why are you wearing that stupid mask? And what the hell are you doing looking in my bedroom window? I started a written blog a couple of months before I ever did anything on YouTube, and I decided to do that anonymously. And the main reason for that was my day job. I didn't want to lose it, and I was going to do some fairly outrageous stuff. A lot of people might not understand the difference between a character and me. They might get a bit freaked out. I wanted to keep life simple. For fun, I invented the character of Mr. Angry. I decided I would just write and get really angry about usually fairly trivial things and try and be funny. I was planning to work up some material for a stand-up act. And that all changed when I discovered YouTube. I mean, hey, stand-up comedy, that's 20th century. YouTube, that's the future. So when I decided to start making videos on YouTube, I really wanted to have some level of anonymity, and I came up with the idea of the mask. A lot of people wonder where I got that idea. Well, I actually did a theatre degree. I'm trained in acting, stage, all that sort of shenanigans, and we did a lot of classical theatre, including medieval mask work, commedia dell'arte. And one group did a performance that I wasn't actually part of, but I thought was fascinating, and it was a mask-based play that combined some traditional medieval masks and some modern cheap plastic masks. And all they did with these cheap plastic masks was cut the jaw out, and so the real mouth was there. And not only did that mean your voice isn't muffled, but it made the masks look amazingly alive, and that always stuck with me. So when I came to make the videos wanting to stay anonymous, I thought, I remember that idea, I'm going to use that. For trivia fans, the mask starts off looking like this. It's actually a fairly happy looking chap, and a few sharp-eyed people who watched Cory's video worked out that looked like Clark Gable. That's actually a very old mask design that is based on the movie star Clark Gable. What I do is cut the jaw out, draw in the angry lines, and lo and behold, the Mr. Angry mask. There's actually a couple of videos with me making these because I've had to retire a couple. They get damaged after a while. In fact, this one's on its last legs. The interesting thing is how a translucent mask, which you would think wouldn't change you that much, can really completely change your appearance. People who had seen the Mr. Angry videos did not recognize me in real life, which is exactly what I wanted. And after a while, I started to diversify and bring in new masks. Last Halloween, I found a couple demonic type Halloween masks that I thought were interesting. There's this guy, this guy, this guy, and there's me. Some people think I'm the most boring video blogger in the world, but they're wrong, because they're not video blogs or vlogs. They're yo-logs. And there's a very interesting story about why they're called yo-logs, and I'm going to tell you all about it. No, No, he's not. If you really want to know, just search on AngryAussie and YoLog and you might find my explanation for that. Or you might just find that evil bastard Sean Bedlam ripping on me. So anyway, in my time on YouTube, I've used about a dozen or more characters. The blogging bot from the future is my girlfriend's favourite. So I was having a pretty good time. I was making lots of videos, having fun, and no one knew who I really was, so my private life was private. So what did I do? Got together with Cory, Sean Bedlam, and a few others, and decided to have an event where we'd have a gathering in Melbourne, where I live, and hundreds of people would come and shoot videos which would probably ultimately be seen by hundreds of thousands of people, which is an ace idea for someone who wanted to stay anonymous, wasn't it? But seriously, this whole event, working with Sean, working with Cory, and finally having it happen and meet everyone, this has been a real turning point for me, and I made the decision. Well, the first decision I made was I'd look like a dork if I showed up in public wearing the mask. That turned out to be a really good idea because it was a pretty hot day and the damn thing would have fused to my face if I'd have worn it. But the really big decision I made is getting an idea of the things I want to do in the future, and quite honestly, my initial worry of it might affect my job stability. I'm a contractor, so I change jobs all the time, and it could affect how easy it is for me to get jobs. Screw that. Honestly, there are some things that are more important, and I'm starting to develop something here that I really think, well, is going to mean something to me, might mean something to some other people. So, if it affects some boring conservative employers, who cares? That is the most detailed explanation I've ever given for the masks. I hope you appreciate it. And for all the new viewers, welcome on board. The regulars will show you around. I've always thought I had the most dedicated, sincere group of viewers, fans, whatever you want to call the subscribers. Special people, I think. Not in a short bus way, special as in, I like them. So if you're new, welcome aboard, pull up a chair, have a look around. There's almost 500 videos in my back catalogue, so that's going to keep you a little busy if you're thinking of checking them out. Oh, and a word of warning. If you've only seen me making, like, nice videos, particularly the ones with Cory, word of warning, if you're going to look at the back catalogue, watch out! It gets a bit blue sometimes. You might think, he doesn't seem that angry. Back off, alright? I can't be angry all the time! Seriously, just angry all the time, besides being a bit hard and stressful for me, it would get boring. Trust me, just one note repeated would get boring. But I do get pretty angry, but there's a lot of variety in there. But yeah, the language goes way beyond PG sometimes, so consider yourself duly warned if you're going back there, and watch out for the future. As for the future, I honestly don't know how often I'm going to do the Mr. Angry mask. I know if I do any of the other characters, they'll be wearing their masks. So you know, it's the characters. Mr. Angry, that might even be shorthand for I'm going to swear a hell of a lot. If the Mr. Angry mask is on, it's potty mouth time. Who knows, maybe I'll even split between me being a bit more rational and having conversations with Mr. Angry. Yes, I have conversations with myself in videos. Deal with it. So, I've got quite a history on YouTube. Hopefully I've got a future. I hope everyone can stick around, enjoy the ride. I think we're in for a few surprises. Me included. There's going to be some changes. There's going to be some old favourites returning. Life's exciting, isn't it?